So cool.
I think it's just Katie's at this point. Katie, can you hear us? Maybe. This is moving. Oh, yeah. She does like kitties.
She loves kitties. My best friend, Kate, has.
It's Jessica. Yay. Have some. There we go. Hi.
Hey. How are you guys? Oh, you're all together.
Let me just put this down.
So much.
How far away from each other do you guys live?
I'm like 30 minutes out, and they're pretty close.
We're like 8 minutes. Yeah, we're like 8 minutes apart.
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah, lucky.
I know.
We love it.
I want to move there. It's so beautiful.
You should come visit this summer.
That would be awesome. We drove through last year.
I remember that. For the competition?
No, what did we go? No, we just went to visit.
Oh, okay. I just remember you were like in Troutdale, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're so close.
I know. We went to Newport.
Oh, okay. The coast is gorgeous. I love the coast.
It's so pretty. It was cold, but I expected it to be cold, but it was really pretty.
I already forgot what I'm talking about.
I know, right? I'm just gonna have to wing it.
That's what's gonna happen.
I hope people get on.
I
Are
should-
you already recording?
Yeah, we're already being recorded. Kind of forgot that.
Who's COFFM?
I don't know.
Reveal yourself.
Review yourself.
So much reading behind a black screen.
I don't even know anyone with those like initials, like Cough.
Yeah.
Coffee Mom?
Probably. That covers about half of beach body.
It's actually me. I'm hidden on the screen.
Where's Katie? Katie, get on. My couch.
Whoa.
Oh, we're seeing her computer.
Whose computer is that though?
It's Coffee Mom's.
It's coffee. Oh, is it? She's doing that? How does that work?
I don't know. I guess she's in charge.
Maybe it's Katie.
Maybe it is Katie. And I just...
Katie's alien.
She doesn't even like coffee. This is an alien.
What was where the focus goes, the energy flows? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't remember that exactly.
And you're gonna do expectations and
Yeah.
appreciation.
Once I start reading over my notes, it gets so like messy.
I know. I was like, I wish they had recorded it so we could rewatch it. Oh,
I was watching.
no.
Where did you guys go see Tony?
He was here.
Convention Center in Portland.
Aw,
It was fun.
that's awesome. One of my best friend's fiance works for ClickFunnels, and they just had an event in Texas, I believe, and he was there as well. Having a few. Oh, it's Lori Coffin.
Oh, how come we could see her screen though?
That was
We're
part of
probably
the technical
difficulties.
Yes, because she's having difficulties.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wish they had recorded it so we could look at it because I'm like looking at my notes and I'm like, what were you thinking there? I don't even know.
You guys can tell that was good.
Yeah, I was like,
Look at it. They're not even like in like. What is happening? What are the arrows for? I don't get it.
Maybe we should just screenshot and be like, take what you want away from it.
For real. Well, you know what's even funnier is that when I'm writing, like when he's telling a story, like I put snowboarding analogy. Like I'm gonna remember what that is. Like I half remember about the cliff and like hanging off of it, and that was all.
Was there a snowboarding
There was,
story?
and there was a car one too that I wrote car analogy.
How you look where you want to go. That was the focus.
Oh yeah, the focus. It's
I'm
so
glad
good.
we have her. Like, I don't even remember, like, the heartbeat. I just remember going, this is great.
I know. That's where I was too. Like, what is happening? Oh, are you gonna? Wait, I don't even know if you're gonna talk about this, but the art of fulfillment and the.
That one was too hard for me to, like,
Was it?
I feel like I wouldn't be very good with myself because I feel like I didn't get the full picture on that. So I feel like I didn't grasp it completely. Like, I understood what he was getting at, but I don't grasp it enough to be able to teach it.
Right.
Where's Katie? She's probably sick.
Right.
Poor baby. Yeah,
What time is it though?
I feel like it's been.
3:05. Should we just go for it? And then...
I guess we can start.
Yeah.
You want to go? Okay. Jessica, you ready? Yay!
I'll mute myself.
Okay, awesome. Thanks guys so much for jumping on with us. Like, we're so excited to be here and so happy that Katie asked us to share our takeaways. Last week we went to the Tony Robbins live event. It was hosted by the National Achievers Congress. So it was this great all-day event. Like, I looked at it, I think I didn't get home till like 14 hours later. It was like so long and so intense. So we learned, or we're able to hear from a bunch of different entrepreneurs and millionaires, and it was really fun. So we're really excited. Tony Robbins was probably my biggest takeaway, so we'll probably be referencing him quite a bit through this because he also was we had the longest amount of time with him, so we were able to learn much more from him. So we just wanted to share with you some of our takeaways. You'll have to excuse me, like, I'm all over the place, and the notes, when you're trying to like follow Tony, he's so passionate and so excited. It's really hard, and he has you jumping up and down, so you have to like look for your pen when you're trying to remember something. So I'm all over the place, so I'm going to be speaking a lot from the heart, and that's kind of who I am. So just bear with us. So we hope you guys get some good takeaways from the fun event that we went to. So do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Hopefully you guys can see me.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. So Bree's still in
So
the
I would agree that most of the takeaways that I got were from Tony Robbins. And I want to start by just saying that if you ever get the chance to see Tony Robbins, even if it means driving an hour, driving 2 hours, paying $100 or $200, do it. Because I went into this with high expectations, but it totally exceeded all of my expectations. And I actually didn't decide to go until the night before. These two were going, and I'm like, great, tell me what you learned. Like, I'm not going to spend money on it. And then it was actually the guy from Shark Tank who was going to be there too, Robert, who got me like, oh, I've got to see Robert. So I ended up going, and I'm so glad that they influenced me to do this because it's life-changing. And I know that sounds super dramatic, but it really is. So first of all, just get yourself to a Tony Robbins event. He can give you much more than we can, but I'll try my best. The overarching theme of the entire conference to me was about being mindful of the energy that you're bringing into different situations and being able to control that energy, and therefore being able to change your relationships, your business, your happiness, change your whole lives, and change the lives of others. So he showed us how we can be mindful of our energy and how we can transform the energy that we're bringing into certain things just by changing our body language. So by changing our physical state. So for example, hopefully right now I'm bringing you guys a lot of energy, and you can sense that, and you can sense my joy and my excitement for everything. And the body language that I'm using is much different than the body language that I would use if I was like kind of nervous or like come on here and that sort of thing. So you can totally change what energy you're bringing to the table by changing your body language. And so what he had us do to kind of learn how that works is an exercise where we would greet our neighbors, so the strangers around us, in different ways. So we would greet them at first acting like we were terrified to greet them. It was kind of weird. It was like I found myself in some sort of improv class or something. I was totally weirded out by it at first. And then he had us greet them as if we were like annoyed that we even had to give them the time of day. And then greet them as if we were happy to see them. And then the last one, he had us greet them as if they were like our long lost lover. So you can imagine how awkward this got, but it taught us so much, and he had us reflect back on the body language we use in the different scenarios. So for example, when we would approach them as if we were scared, our body language was very closed off, we were hunched, we spoke quietly, we breathed very shallow, all of those things. But if we were to go at them like they were our long lost lover, we have a huge smile on our face, our body language is just so open, and they could sense that. So instead of letting our emotions dictate our body language, what he had us do is reverse that, and we could use our body language to control our emotions. And so that was the overarching theme of this entire conference for me. What I took from it is how different I can come off by changing my body language. And then I took some notes about how I could use this to be beneficial in my Beachbody business. And what I was thinking is that I could totally do these things to prepare myself for when I'm going to make a post on social media, or for when I'm going to go live. Like if I have that fearfulness inside of me, or hesitation, or like the feeling of I don't really want to interact with anybody, I'm kind of like a turtle in my shell today, people can sense that. Like they know that I'm just trying to come up with something to post, and that's what makes me a salesman. But if I could get myself amped up, listen to some fun music, practice changing my body language, slap a huge smile on my face before I push the go live button, that's going to make all the difference. And that's going to bring that energy to my followers. They're going to sense that, and it'll be contagious. That's going to make them feel good. That's going to help us build a stronger relationship faster, and therefore I build trust. They know me, and I can do so many more things in my business by building that stronger relationship. And I was going to tell you guys a quick story about something that I noticed while at the event. Just by practicing using different body language with the people around me, I felt like I built really strong relationships with total strangers. So we never got the chance to have a conversation or talk, but we were interacting with this positive body language. And it was a man and his like teenage son who were right next to us. And when they left, they gave us a hug. Like I felt like I was going to miss them. Like I felt a connection with them. It's like if I can feel this connection with two strangers next to me, a man and a son, then I could totally build that same connection by using this energy on my social media. And then the second thing that I was going to talk on was how Tony Robbins talked about how we have been programmed over time to kind of rein ourselves back a little bit. So in school, we're told to sit down at a desk and be quiet and like wait to listen. Don't speak until you're spoken to, that sort of thing. Like we were trained for a factory job. But if we bring that mentality into the business that we're in as Beachbody coaches, we'll get out of business. Like we have to reverse that. We have to bring the energy. We have to bring the openness, and then provide the most value that we can to our niche more than anybody else who's out there. So that's what's going to set you apart from the Beachbody coach next door, is the value that you can provide and the relationships that you can build with your following. And then the last thing that I was going to talk about was the idea of recognizing your energy and recognizing whether you're living in a positive state or whether you're living in a suffering state, I think is the way that he put it in. So, and he called a positive state living in a beautiful state. So that was kind of a cool way to think about it. But if you hear yourself saying things that have a negative connotation to them, or like, I'm not good enough, if I only had enough of this, anything, if you catch yourself having any sort of negative feelings or mindset, realize that your circumstances don't control your emotions. You get to control your emotions. So just as easily as you can focus on the I don't have enough, you could focus on the I have so much. Like, you get to choose where your energy goes. So we had us do something that's called heart math. And this is where we would put it sounds so corny, but try it because it works. You put both hands on your heart and you close your eyes. And for 90 seconds, you think of 3 things that you're incredibly grateful for, the things that you are the most thankful for in the whole world, and just practice that. Practice being grateful and practice gratitude. And also you can focus on things that you're extremely excited about in your future. So it's just a way to get the negative out and flood yourself with the positive. At the end of that 90 seconds, then you will have, 1, changed your state of energy, and 2, you should get a sense of what your heart is telling you to do in that situation that you had found yourself when you were feeling those negative thoughts. So I could see myself applying this in 2 ways at the conference. Of course, there's many more, but I'll share 2 with you. One of them was in Beachbody, at least. If I'm experiencing any sort of negative emotion, it's usually because I found myself overwhelmed. I'm very type A. I need a plan. And when I feel like there's so many things for me to do and I haven't gotten to any of them, then I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I don't know where to start. And what I typically do in that situation is decide to check out for the night. Say, oh, tomorrow will be a better day, and I'll binge on Netflix. Like, that's just what I've been doing. I'll be honest about that. But now what I can do is when I see myself slipping into that negative state, I can say, you know what, I've got 90 seconds to change my energy, focus on all of the things that I'm grateful for. And then at the end of that, listen to what my heart's telling me to do. And it's probably not going to be to binge on Netflix. It's probably going to give me a starting place. Tell me what's the most important thing for me to work on. So that's how I could see me using it in Beachbody. And then I could also totally see myself using this in my relationship with my husband. I love him. He's the best ever. But over time, you start to lean more, like have a relationship that's kind of just like complacent, like just like average. You know, you start and you feel like, oh, I wonder if they like me. I wonder if they'd ever want to date me. Now I wonder if they'll marry me. Like that sort of thing. You're so excited. But then after you've been married we're going on 5 years, which isn't a lot in the scheme of things, but it starts to be like, I love you, like, I love you too. How was your day? Cool. You know, and I can totally see myself using this concept to switch my energy, to walk into the room with a smile on my face that he wonders where it came from, and give him a huge hug and just make him feel so good to be in the relationship that we have, and just express my gratitude for having such a wonderful husband. So those are the ways that I found myself using that concept. And that's all I had to share.
Yay. So it's really interesting because we each got a different experience and a different perspective, or we're coming to this conference in totally different states of mind, or different things are affecting us. So it's really interesting how that's Kaelyn's perspective on it, and I had something completely different. So when I feel like I'm going into a negative state, one of my niche markets with Beachbody is I believe I'm an advocate for depression. You know, I deal with depression fairly regularly. And I really took away that exercise as, why do I want to live in a suffering state? I don't want to be unhappy. I'm not a negative person. So I really took that as, how can I change that? And it's interesting because in other personal development, I've heard Tony talk about how depression and anxiety is not necessarily only a mental health issue. Of course it is. But it's habits, you know, it's bad habits of like feeling down, getting into that negative state, which habits we've all know can change. So changing this negative state and turning it into a beautiful one, using that exercise, so I wanted to use that as I know what triggers my depression. Like I know when something bad happens to me that's outside of my control, I know that I will play into those bad things sometimes and play with that. And I know the stuff that makes me go into that downward spiral, and then I'm just hopeless, and then it's so hard to get back up. And I don't want to do that. I don't want that for my life. So I use that exercise is catching those triggering things and not playing into them anymore. And maybe when something outside of my control happens, I will take those 90 seconds and realize what it is, and stop blowing it out of proportion, and not going down that dark path that none of us really like. And instead putting myself back into my beautiful state and realizing, bless and release, let that go. I can't change that, but what I can change is my attitude about it. So that was like my experience, and something that I really want to work on, because that's something that affects me almost on the daily. So what I got from the conference, aside from that, is, let me catch up on my notes. It's really hard to be like listening to Kaelyn and then remembering what you want to talk about. So I really love this event because not only was Tony there, but Robert Hershevek, is that his last name?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know his last name. The nice one from Shark Tank. And there was Gary Vaynerchuk, like hollow casted, like he was a hologram. And then there was a bunch of other people that I'm not even familiar with, but they all are self-made millionaires. And what I thought was really interesting is literally every single one of them built their empires. They built their businesses. They weren't born into wealth. They came from simple backgrounds, or Robert was an immigrant. Gary was an immigrant to this country. They literally had nothing. And so they built this themselves. And so that really inspired me, because if they can do it with absolutely nothing, I can do this, or whatever my business is. If they can build multi-million-dollar companies, then I can, be able to pursue my dreams and make them a reality. And what I also loved, and made it so interesting about them, is each one of them were humble, like in their own way. And they each said, I'm not special. There's nothing unique about me. I'm just the normal average person, and I'm just like you, but I still made this work, so there was nothing, there's no reason why you're any different from them. So that just made me feel like, okay, yeah, there's nothing special about them. I can totally make this work for me. So what they all did and have in common is that they're super creative and resourceful. And Tony Robbins has like his famous quote that says like, it's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. And I know a lot of the time we think, I don't have enough customers. I don't have enough coaches. We come up with all these excuses in our mind, like, oh, the market's saturated. There's a Beachbody coach on every corner now. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough ads. I'm not creative enough. I'm not outgoing. I don't like live videos, whatever. Like, we have excuses for everything, and that's what they are. They're excuses. And Tony said, like, don't be a Hitler to yourself. Like, don't believe the lies that you tell yourself, because, behind all this, there isn't a lot of truth. It's all just fear, and it's this belief that you're not good enough, and it's totally not true. And if you're determined enough, you'll figure out a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And Tony just like really honed in on like, if you give the most value, you'll dominate your market, whatever it is. So it's all about just being creative, finding, something that works for you and just going all in it. And it's all about, like Kaelyn said, it's that energy. It's like, if you're happy, if you're like excited about your business, excited about helping others, you will go until you make it, until you figure out a way, and then you'll just come over each obstacle. And really, it's all about like that emotion that you create in your mind. And it's like emotion creates motion. Like if you're feeling good, you're gonna put more into your business. If you're in that beautiful state, you're gonna be able to listen to customers better. You're gonna be able to help people and be more open to them. And it's all just about staying in that focus. There was something else I wanted to touch on. So really, like, it's interesting to me how it's this business and being like a successful entrepreneur is like everything is just between your ears. It's all a mind. It's all in your head, and it's just like changing your perspective on things. It's changing, you know, your state of mind, and realizing like life is happening for you, not to you, and just staying out of that victim thing. You know, victim perspective, because if these guys can do it, you know, Tony came from such a sad background, like had nothing, had little money. His mother beat him and was like an alcoholic. It was awful. And then these other families are just immigrants that come to this country with only like the shirt on their back. So it's like life can be really rough, but you have the power to change it. I don't know if I have that much more. Are you ready to go?
Sure.
Cool. I'm ready to go.
Okay,
you can go.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm a little distracted with Grace, so I'm gonna try and stay on track. It is hard to listen to other people talk about everything, because then you just start thinking about all of the stuff that they're talking about. So first I wanted to touch on also what Kaelyn was talking about with the physiological change when we were doing the exercises about like going and introducing ourselves to people and all these ways of changing how you're feeling. And it's crazy that just by running around, jumping around, hugging people, shaking hands, and like just faking happy, you make this change within your body where you actually are happy after you're doing that. And something that stood out to me a lot that he was talking about when he was doing it is talking about making a radical change, whether that's in your physiology or whether that's in your focus. Because what you're focusing on is what you're going to feel. So if you're focused on the negative and you're focused on the bad or something that happened or loss of something, you're going to feel those negative emotions. But if you're focused on the gratitude, like you were talking with the heart math, and you can just take a couple seconds to like focus on the good in your life, you're going to start feeling those positive emotions. Just like if you were to start yelling happy words or jumping around and smiling and just being super silly, you're going to feel that happiness. It's also kind of the same thing that happens with if you're driving in your car and you turn on a song and it's a song that you really, really like. And so you just start belting it out and you're singing. And by the time you get out of your car, you're like, oh my God, I feel fantastic. It's the physiological change. And so that's what stood out so much to me during this conference. I'm really grateful to have been able to experience this. I've wanted to see Tony Robbins for a long time, and it was like the perfect opportunity to go with you guys and to learn. So another huge thing that stood out to me was, and it kind of goes along with the changing your body, is where the focus goes, the energy flows. So whatever that is for you. So if you're somebody that likes to do meditation and you like to clear your mind and have positive thoughts coming in, changing the way you're thinking is going to change the way your day goes. It's going to change the way your business goes. Things start coming to you. If you focus on the negative things are going to start coming. If you focus on the positive and things that you want and the good, it's all going to start coming that way. Also, something that stood out to me was about how our feelings are ours. Nobody can make you feel a certain way. There's nothing that can happen to you. There's nothing. Stop it. There's nothing that can happen to you. There's nothing that someone can do to you to make you feel a certain way. He talked about how facts can't upset you. You can't be upset by a fact. You can't be upset it's raining out. You can't be upset that it's raining out. What you're upset about is the feelings that you're experiencing because of what's going on. just because it's raining out doesn't mean you're sad. He even went to the extreme of talking about someone who passed away. He's like, you're not feeling grief because they passed away. The fact is they passed away. You're feeling grief because of the feelings and the emotions that were tied to the loss. So that was pretty powerful for me too, to know that like, no matter what is happening, no matter what, I'm driving in my car and someone cuts me off. They cut me off. I'm not experiencing anger because they cut me off. I'm experiencing because the way it's making me feel inside is angry. Had nothing to do with what they actually did. It's how I reacted to the situation. And so I think that focusing on reaction is something huge too, because we can learn to change that, and it's going to take time. And it's kind of what we talked about with it, about learning how to change that, because not all of us are good at just changing how we're feeling. But if you can take a step back and focus on the facts and that what actually happened and why you're feeling the way you are, it's that step in the right direction. You want more orange? There's an orange in the side pocket over there. Would you grab it? Sorry. And then, so the next thing that really stood out to me, and it's been like a reoccurring theme for me lately, he said, replacing expectations with appreciation is the start to a beautiful life. So this is something that I've been told before. And so when he said it, it like reiterated it to me, and I try to follow it to the best of my ability, because it really does keep me sane. So replacing expectations with appreciation, right? So you're dropping your expectations of people, places, things, stuff in your business. And so I was trying to think of a example. So say in your business, you're having a conversation with somebody, right? You have this connection with somebody and you're talking to them about, say, a challenge group or a coaching opportunity. And you have these expectations that they're going to write you back, or they're going to say what you want them to say, or they're going to be like, yeah. It makes you pretty sad, right? Like they don't write you back, and you see that they've read it, and maybe you even write them back one more time, and you're just like, hey, just checking on you. And like you have these expectations that are basically setting you up for future resentments. When you have an expectation on something, you're setting yourself up for a resentment, regardless of what it is. Even if it goes your way, having an expectation, it's never gonna go quite the way that you think it is. It could be better, it could be worse. So if you're able to replace your expectations with appreciation, it's a lot easier to let things go. So instead of having that expectation on that person, even if they don't write you back, you can have an appreciation that you got that little bit of practice in with it. Or the next person that you come to and have a conversation with, you can have the appreciation that, oh, they actually bought a challenge pack and they're going to be a much better challenger, and they're going to actually want my value that I'm giving them. And by focusing on that appreciation, you're putting out that positive energy that's going to continue to bring those positive things into your life. And this whole replacing expectations with appreciation thing can be helpful in every single aspect of your life. I know it's helped me in my relationship. When you set the bar high for somebody, especially if you don't completely voice to them what your expectations are, and you just have these ideals of what it should look like, it's never going to meet your standards. But if you can appreciate the little things, and you can appreciate everything else, it makes life a lot easier in your personal life, in your business, in your friendships, at work. I mean, just about anywhere. So replacing expectations with appreciation is a beautiful thing. I just wanted one more thing that he said to me that stood out a lot was success without fulfillment is worse than failure. And he gave us a couple examples, but he's talking about how you can be the most successful person in the world. You can have the most money. You can have the best business. You can have everything you ever thought you needed. But if you're not doing things that make you happy, and you're not doing it for the reasons that make you authentic to yourself, there's no point in doing it. He used Robin Williams as an example. Robin Williams had millions of people around the world that absolutely adored him and loved him. He had more money and more roles and more family and more of everything that anybody could have ever thought they needed to be happy, but he wasn't fulfilled. he wasn't fulfilled. So he found outside things to try and fill himself that ultimately ended up with him not being with us anymore for those reasons. And it was because he wasn't fulfilled. He couldn't find that thing that fulfilled him, even though he was so successful. So finding things that excite you and make you happy and make you excited to do what you do are really, really important. And so that's what I've been focusing on the last few days, trying to figure out what really, really makes me happy and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm not going to stop until I am fulfilled. You know, the success is just a
Byproduct.
Yeah, it's just a byproduct of being fulfilled. And like, I'm really grateful to have this chance to do this with you guys. You guys fulfill me, so that's nice. I'm glad I get to spend some time with you. So thanks for hearing us out.
Yeah. Anything else we're gonna say?
If we want it, I didn't know if you had.
Oh,
yours.
I do have mine.
Do you want to read yours?
Yeah, let's do it.
Like end on a positive note.
Yeah, we can do that. Do you want to explain to them what it is? Or what you had us do?
So at the end of the conference, he says, usually I have you guys do this here, but he talked so long that time had gone over and he told us to just do it at home. But what he had asked us to do was to write ourselves a letter about how we're going to apply all of the things that we had learned that day, what that was going to look like in terms of a change in our lives, and how we were going to set ourselves up for success to be living in a beautiful state instead of living in a state of suffering. So he asked us to write ourselves a letter and then share that letter with 3 people who could hold us accountable to doing the things that we're saying we want to do, to changing the things we say we want to change. So I guess if we share it with you guys, that's way more than 3 people. And
accountability.
Yeah, you keep us on track. So anyway, this was mine. I said, I'm going to live a beautiful life. God created me with a purpose, and every experience in my life has a purpose as well. It is my job to find and live out that purpose, even when things get tough. My goal is to find joy in every moment and always remember that God is good. I won't spend more than 90 seconds in a suffering state of mind. When tough times come my way, I will take 2 minutes and think of 3 things that I am grateful for. I will remember how blessed I am and remember that God has given me everything I need to be happy. I am capable of great things. I will become obsessed with blessing others with my gifts. I will take massive action in order to fulfill my calling. I will accept God's grace when things don't go perfectly, and I will keep trying. And through it all, I will remember it is not the money or personal achievements I make along the way that makes life worthwhile. Living my life through Christ and being a light in this world make life worth living. That is what fulfills me. I will live in a beautiful state every day in order to change my life and the lives of others.
Aww. Mine's, I don't know if I just didn't understand it, but mine's, did you read mine?
No.
Oh. Well, mine was more what I took away about not trying to be in the suffering state. And I think that just really resonated with me with having to stop the suffering state. So mine's a little bit not darker, but definitely not like, happy.
That's okay.
Okay, so I didn't even share it with you guys yet. So
I didn't share mine with you.
Okay, so all right, so dearest Bethany, so this is basically a letter to myself, and I felt like this really, like, this was kind of like Tony and like God and myself talking to myself. So I said, why have you let yourself for so long fall into the habit of fear, doubt that lead to depression? You know, there are times that things happen which are out of your control, but there's also times when you let those things trigger you and you fall down that dark spiral. When you start to feel the negative feelings creeping in, please take a moment, breathe, realize what's happening, evaluate what actually happened. Did something trigger you? If so, break down what you can do about it. Don't turn the sad music on. Don't exaggerate the situation. If anything can be done, think out an action plan. If not, bless and release. The pain of falling down the dark hole seems way worse than whatever happened, so don't even think about entertaining those feelings. Remember, life is happening for you, and that if you want to be in a beautiful state, if you want to break this habit and have remember life is happening for you. And that if you want to be in a beautiful state, if you want to break this habit, I don't even know what I was saying there. Something about if you want to be in a beautiful state and break this habit to have an extraordinary life and to trade your expectations for appreciation, love me. So that's why mine's like a little bit different, because I really needed to break down the bad thoughts, the kind of, what I love about Tony is he doesn't BS you. He gets straight to the point. He's no beating around the bush. And he really makes you think about those hard things that you don't want to think about. So I think that's why this letter was like, really like, okay, we need to talk. We need to have a talk. So,
Right.
so that's why it resonated with me. Go for it.
So mine is,
What, Jessica?
No, I was just gonna say that I appreciate that, because I feel like so many people have so much potential, but when something happens in their life, they react and they do fall down that dark hole, or they do get in a funk about their business, and the next thing you know, that's what causes people to quit, because we just don't see that there's any way to like move forward after falling in that dark hole. So I think that you sharing that will resonate with a lot of people, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it hits home with a lot more people than people are brave enough to share at this point.
Absolutely.
All right, go for it.
so mine says, I'm committing myself to living in a, hold on a second, let me read it, babe. I'm committing myself to living in a beautiful state. Whenever I find myself in a suffering state, I will take 90 seconds to close my eyes and redirect the focus to 3 things that I'm grateful for. I will make sure my focus is on the positives and make sure to refocus that energy to the beautiful state if I find myself in the negative one. Life with a toddler. Then I will take massive action with God and remember to give myself grace. I'll remember that I was created with a purpose, and I will try every single day to make sure I am working towards fulfillment and lifting others up into fulfillment as well. I will live for the ecstasy and joy in my everyday endeavors and help to spread that to everyone I come into contact with. Replacing expectations with appreciation always. Love me.
I love that. Yay. That was good. I think that tied in Kaylyn's and mine.
It's good. It's good. That's what we're here for.
Yay.
You need to go potty.
Okay. That means we need to wrap up.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up now.
Thank you, girls. This was awesome.
Yay.
Thanks for hopping on.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, we have a link. Who's recording this?
I don't know who's recording. It was recording when it started.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I think Katie set it up to where when we hopped on, it would automatically be recording. So I think she'll have the link.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yes. Yay.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
I want to read these comments.
Oh, was there comments?
Okay.
Oh, I want to look too. Hold on one second. No, you're scared of the kitty? What happened? I'm scared of just how fast she jumped up.
I thought you liked kitties.
She likes them until they come too close,
Oh.
apparently.
They're little lions or something. I'm scared if I leave, maybe
Oh,
it'll
but you
close
stopped
it.
recording.
I don't know. It's
I don't know.
Oh, no.
You can at least